Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we've got a lot to talk about today in regards to the bonus drops that are currently going on for Bad Batch 2.0. I want to talk about how best to take advantage of this to prepare yourself for day one in the raid, which is the primary purpose of this video. We're going to look at your day one teams, which ones I'm eyeing up to say, hey, if you're free to play, this is where you aim, and if, how to get your score. Again, there's a lot of negativity about this raid. I don't have as much of that. I got my anger at pirates not being allowed in this raid out a long time ago. We beat that to a dead horse. We beat that dead horse. The Jedi Master Mace Windu, I was expecting him to be, that I wasn't going to have him right away. Them releasing it when they did is a little bit harsh, but I can't say that it's not something that I thought was a possibility if we go back to my speculation. So again, that's sort of the reason why I'm not as negative, is because I did feel like I mentally prepared that this was a possibility for happening. So let's get in here, guys. I do just want to talk about how to get prepared, because at the end of the day, it's here. Regardless of whether you like it or not, it's here and we need to get prepared, right? So let's thank our channel members, as always, for their continued support. If you're ever interested, that link is below, along with a link to our Discord server. Go check it out. I really appreciate all of you guys just keeping the faith, sticking with me through good, bad, thick, thin. If you're ever interested, everything, again, down below. If there's ever a link, screen prints, whatever there is, I have those linked down below so you guys can go check those out. Really appreciate everybody here. You guys make my life as a creator a lot more fun and interesting. So let's talk about raid prep and getting ready for day one of this Order 66 raid. Alright folks, so first let's talk about these bonus drops. So on Mod Energy, we have Hunter. This is a big one. Getting Hunter shards is huge because he's available in the Cantina. Now he's on an early Cantina node. So there is a little bit here. Of course, it's taking forever for my Galaxy of Heroes to load, because why would anything cooperate with me? Man, this is slow. I guess my internet just does not want to cooperate right now. Got Harper up there streaming Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and slowing down my videos here, right? So when we go to Hunter Mercenary here, he's available on a 10 energy node. So I'm not going crazy trying to do lots of mod refreshes for him, because he's on a very easy node. It's not going to take long. Any extra shards I can get of his, obviously I'm going to take advantage of, but it's not like I'm going into the hundreds or the 200s for this, because he's on a very accessible node. If he was on a 16 energy node, I would be going harder. And then while we're right here in the Cantina, we've gotten Wrecker Mercenary, who's on Cantina nodes. Obviously, I'm farming signal data right now anyways, so we're going to get our Wrecker shards. I don't know if he'll be, I think he should potentially get to 7-star by the end of this, or at least close to it, so we'll be good there. Again, everybody, that's easy, right? You're farming in the Cantina, you're going to get him. There's not really a decision there. The first decision you have to make is on your light side and dark side battles. That's the only decision here. On your light side hard nodes, it is, and it's hard nodes, you can get Omega Fugitive shards or Omega herself, right? Which I thought was funny. It's Omega or Omega. And on dark side hard nodes, it's Crosshair shards. In my personal opinion, you want to value the Crosshair shards more than you want to value the Omega shards. And here's why. Crosshair is on a 20 energy node, or 20 energy node. If you go to 7D on the hard nodes here, right, those are 20 energy nodes. So he's obviously a lot more expensive to farm than Omega, who is on a 12 energy node. So if you have to split between light side, dark side, hard nodes, I would go with the dark side for Crosshair shards, because he's going to take more energy. Just, to give you some perspective on that, 25 attempts on Omega is the equivalent of 15 on Crosshair. So the more Crosshair shards you can earn, the less energy you'll have to spend to complete your farming for the Bad Batch. So that is why I would prioritize Crosshair over Omega shards. And then in ship hard nodes, again, it's hard nodes, is Batcher or Kyratech. Again, I'm not really doing anything here because I don't need Kyratech. I've got Batcher already, so it's not as big of a deal. But again, I would tell you right now that for those ones that are on these hard nodes, I would exclusively be farming them. Like, if you guys go through my hard nodes, I hoarded some energy, but I have farmed so many of these just trying to earn as many Crosshair shards as I can, because I want to maximize my rewards during this time. So I spent a lot of my energy on some of these nodes just trying to get through, as much of that as I can. I spent a lot on hard nodes. So I did want to at least mention that, because that would be remiss to say, oh, get prepared day one if you're not taking advantage of the Bad Batch here. So that's a big thing. Now, what about the actual teams themselves? And unfortunately, we don't have the Order 66 tag in game yet, at least that you can filter on it. So I just created a little tab here. So let's start with your Dark Side clones. This team will technically be available. Again, Oppo is farmable. He is available on Light Side 2E. So that's a 12 energy node. That's very easy. CX2 not available on nodes, but he is in your shipments. Same thing with Disguised Clone Trooper, is available in shipments, not available on a node. And I think Scorch is not available in shipments yet. He still has his packs as the only place to get him. So, with that said, with this team, if you've got one or a couple of them at 5-star and you've got a Relic Tarkin, you're going to be fine. Because you're going to be able to score better in some of those lower tiers. You're going to be able to go to level 0 with a 5-star character and potentially have your Relic Tarkin kind of carry you to the score that you're going to achieve. So I think that one, I'm very confident that people can say, hey, Tarkin, a Relic 7 Tarkin with a handful of these clones, probably going to be able to complete level 0 of the raid, which again, if you look at the level 0, that is 300,000 points. Right, that's 300,000 points. That is not bad at all. And again, we're going to go back to the raid score here just for perspective. Right, if everybody in your guild is capable of scoring 300,000 points with just that team, right, with just that team alone, you score 300,000 points. That is the 14.5 million box right here. You're going to be able to get this. So that right there, that's 15 million if everybody uses that team. So very quickly, you see, we're going to start earning some boxes there, right? And we're going to flip back and forth just to show you what each of that stuff kind of entails, right? So then you have the Bad Batch 2.0. Again, this is another team that I feel a lot of players should have at 5-star between their farm. They're all available to farm now. Every single one of them is on a node. They're available to farm, so you have that opportunity to get them up and running. So my advice here with the Bad Batch is, again, maybe you've got them at 5-star. They're going to be able to score some points. I don't know if they'll be able to max. It's going to depend on where you have them. But again, another 300,000 points, just for perspective, that's another 15 million points if you had everybody max them out. And again, that could be an average, but that's going to get you to this box here where you're earning 1,500 Mark III raid currency, right? If you get everybody scoring, right here, this is, 300,000? This is, 600,000, give or take, right? A little bit less. So, very quickly there, just between those two teams at, the base level, you're going to be okay. That's not including if you have any of your guild has them at relic levels. If you've been able to invest a little bit more into them, then you can increase that, and it helps offset people who maybe can't get a max score. So, again, you guys are seeing pretty quickly that you're going to be able to add up. You just have to think a little bit outside the box here. Now, at the start of the Naboo raid, it was very challenging to go below tier 5 for some teams. I do think that is going to get fixed. I'm not sure. I don't have any inside information to tell you one way or the other, but I have a feeling that CG they corrected that pretty quickly because they understood that that was not okay. So I think they know that going in. Listen, you got your Jedi varsity team here. This is your whale team, right? This is, you can I'd argue you could kind of ignore this, but think about characters like Depa Billaba, Temple Guard. If you at least have them at 5-star, you're going to be able to use them on that lower tier. Again, I think Mace is going to be a long shot for a lot of players. So then you kind of have the, not Jedi Varsity, right? Some leftover Jedi Vanguard, all, mostly from Battle for Naboo. Barriss Offee, not a Battle for Naboo character, but was required for Ahsoka. So you could say that, yes, you can sub in some people, but there's leftover Jedi Vanguard. And then you've got your Treasure Island. Right, we've got the pirates that are available day one to use. All of these were sold in Lightspeed bundles, and even if they weren't, these two characters are needed for Dr. Aphra, so if you farmed up Aphra, you'd have them. Enfys Nest, of these, I'm not going to lie, she really strikes me as a character that at relic levels might be able to do some damage on some of those lower tiers because of her unique ability with the whole bonus protection and stuff. So there's a potential that she could actually do some damage at those lower tiers, kind of like Boba Fett did where if you brought him into lower tiers of the raid in the Great Dragon Raid, or you brought him like into a higher tier, he could at least score you a couple 100,000 points just by himself. I'm wondering if Nest has that same flexibility. So how am I planning to go? What are the teams I'm looking at here? So this team, Relic 5 is the goal, right? I'm going to get this team to Relic 5, but this, again, I think that's very doable. You've got your Jedi Varsity, right? But here's another option, is I want to pay attention to right in this range. So you have your Junior Varsity team that I'm planning to get to Relic 7. Now, I have these characters. Let's say you don't have Keller and Beck, you don't have Jocasta new, right? Or say it's not Jocasta. So we take Jocasta out of this team, and you could throw in like Eth Koth. You could throw in Kit Fisto, right? There's characters we can put into this team to get more out of it. Similar situation down here. I'm fortunately able to make 2 unique Jedi Vanguard teams, so I'm okay here. Like, there's no overlaps. But you can at least get 1 Jedi Vanguard team to try and get a good score in this raid. So if between Jedi Vanguards you can score, say, a Relic 3 where you're going to get 1 point, or I think it's 900k, or a Relic 5 team where you could score 1.2 million points, very quickly your guild is going to progress like crazy, right? So right there you guys can see very quickly your guild can get a lot of points just by having 1 Relic team. And if you can get 1 million points, just even 1 million points per player, right? You're looking at this box right here, 2000 Mark III raid currency. So, that's why I said, like, I think, hey, there is some things you can do for these teams. If I am a free-to-play right now, and you say, hey, Phil, well, I don't have Jedi Vanguard built up, right? I didn't build Jedi Vanguard for Battle for Naboo. I was building Ahsoka, or I was building Jabba. You made a decision. You can't be overly upset, because that's exactly what happened with Battle for Naboo. You might have been building something else, raid comes out, and you had to then react. We have been telling you guys for a while, hey, Bad Batch. So if you haven't been making progress on Bad Batch because you were anticipating something else, we said this was the team that you at least wanted to farm up, even if you weren't going to potentially use them right away. It's still worth having. So what I think, if I'm free to play, I'm looking here and saying, all right, bare minimum, get this team to the point where they're like my Jawas were in the crate raid. Now, I had a Relic Jawa, which helped me, but even at like no relics, I'm sure this team could have at least still scored some measure of points to help my guild progress. I think a lot of the misconceptions around raid scoring come from not recognizing how quickly scores add up, right? Like, it doesn't take a lot as long as your entire guild is working and progressing to it, right? So what I'm really going to say is the Jedi Vanguard, when I'm looking at Jedi Vanguard and I'm like, hey, Phil, what are the ones that you would tell me 1000% with these are the ones to work on? I would tell you this, right? If you're like, hey, Phil, what is the Jedi Vanguard that I need to work on right now? Here we go. So these are the ones I would invest. Number 1, Keller and Beck. He's a requirement for Bo-Katan Mandalore. Really good leader, very good character, very good. Shak T. She's a requirement for Jedi Master Kenobi. She's got a lot of really good utility. Ayla Sakura, another Galactic Legend requirement for Jedi Master Kenobi. With her rework, she is going to be part of the Jedi Master Mace Windu team. So investing in her, you're not just getting a character for Kenobi, you're getting the character you're going to use with the A-Team Jedi Vanguard that are eventually coming out in the game. You're planning ahead, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Now you've got a lot more options here. Obviously Jocasta, but let's say you can't get her. I'm looking at a character like Plo Koon. Plo Koon has a ship. Plo Koon is required for Ahsoka at Relic 8. So investing some relics into him makes a lot of sense because he's a solid character, because he, again, those requirements were checking the box. So now that leaves the 5th slot. And you have, one of 2 options here that I would say with certainty, like, hey, in regard to Galactic Legends, these are the ones that make sense. You've got Qui-Gon Jinn, who is a requirement for Jedi Master Kenobi, and you have Barriss Offee, who's a requirement for Ahsoka. I think both of them could be very, very good options here and have a lot of utility in different aspects. Qui-Gon has the Omicron for Grand Arena. You might already have relics invested into him. With Barriss, she can pose a lot of problems defensively. She's very plug-and-play with a couple teams with her unique Zeta. So I think there is a case here that you can make a pretty decent Jedi Vanguard team day one without having to build up characters that aren't going to help in the future, right? And that's where I'm really looking at, is saying, hey, you look at these characters, they're all required, they're all like, they all have a purpose somewhere in some way, shape, or form. So you can feel confident that investing in these and adding some relics, even if you're not taking them to relic 7, you're not maybe taking them to relic 3, you're still making progress that is eventually going to help you down the line. So I wanted to point this team out in particular that I think, with either Qui-Gon or Barriss is going to be fantastic. And obviously, if you have Jocasta, that makes your life even easier and you don't have to worry nearly as much as other people do. But that just depends on how much you've been able to participate with Conquest and how good you are at getting there. So, with that said, folks, we're going to sign off here. Thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope this helps you just kind of get your mind right on, hey, these are the teams that are going to be available. These are the ones that I would just try to focus on. And there's others that we could, there's others that you can dig into. We didn't talk a lot about this pirate faction, but you might be able to get a couple of, couple 100,000 points with them on a lower tier. Remember, you do not have to go to the relic level those characters are in order, like my pirates are all relic 5, but maybe I can score 900,000 points on the relic 3 tier with them, and on say the relic 5 tier, I'm only going to score 600,000. So it's better for me to go here and go down a tier, but max it out. So there is an element there of figuring out, there's going to be a little bit of figuring out where to bring those underman-sized teams that we have until you get more. And if your entire guild can do that, very quickly, you're going to reach some boxes that you would be very surprised by. So, that's the end of the video. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the Force be with you. Guys, Wampa is king in the comments. We're going to bring it back every once in a while. Love you, and I'll see you. Cheers, my friends.